Hey guys, this is it's in the evening. It's kind of good lighting, so I thought maybe I'd take you through and see some of the things we've done this week. We did the fence, which was a big deal, and then we got some plants moved around. So, been using this entrance. I don't know, just a little closer to the shed with all of our supplies. It's a mess right now. So it's being used. When you live it, it's usually messy. We've got our tomatoes staked. I went ahead and moved these tomatoes. There was some black princes that got burnt up. It did not get too cold. It got burnt. So I went ahead and pulled 3 of them, and I transplanted pink ox hearts and a vernissage. I hope I'm saying all these right. Then there's 2 Dr. Witchies, 3 Kellogg's, 5 big rainbows, which are striped. Potatoes might be needing cut back if he doesn't mind his business there. He was a volunteer, if you didn't follow me before, and I was going to let him grow because I didn't think it hurt anything, but he's kind of getting big. I think those are celebrations. He's blocking out some black brandywines, which are purple tomatoes, Romas, beefsteaks, Better Boys, and Cherokee purple. Our blackberries back there have kind of been pruned. We're taming them with those wires. So I could go this way. We did the fence. We pressure washed and stained the fence. I obviously made some mistakes here, but it's better than it did. Looks better than it did before. So I just got some of these pulled up to give you a quick reason why we have all these wires everywhere. Because when we don't, those come this way and they're all in the walkway. We don't leave big walkways because that's not important to me. I can maneuver around things, but if I can get them against the fence and kind of straight-ish, we do that. This is our support for our Concord grape. We have 1 vine. I don't think he has enough room, but we're gonna roll with it because if I transplanted him at this time, he'd just die anyway. So he is coming back with some growth. He has some frost damage. We had another freeze and he'd already budded. But, oh, there's a little lizard guy. I love seeing them guys in my garden. My dog likes to eat them. So, you stay in here, buddy, because Paisley will get ya. I don't know about grapes, but if anybody knows and anybody wants to comment, are those grapes? I don't know. Are those just pollen? I don't know what those are, but we've got several of them this year. And I wasn't paying enough attention last year, but we did not have grapes last year. I think this is our 3rd year. I think he's 3 years old, so I think he's going to, fruit for us. I have my paste tomatoes. I have 2 Amish pastes on the side, and then all the other ones are San Marzanos. I definitely put them out way too early. This is all along the fence, and my kids playing in the water, so hopefully you can hear over all that later. But San Marzanos are excellent Italian processing tomatoes, and I make a lot of my marinara. Actually, I make all of our marinara and tomato soup, so I use a lot of it for that. We got poppies in the middle, and then we've got a kohlrabi. It's kind of like a broccoli. I've not tried it yet. Got some seedlings I gotta get out still, and this is some summer kale. Onions going strong. We cut some of the greens off to use this afternoon, but I haven't pulled any bulbs yet. We got strawberries that we just transplanted to the pot. Once they make runners, I'll show you the bed that we're going to put them in. This is in fact cilantro. I said it might have been celery. It's cilantro. I've got a radish bolting. Might just save some of his seeds. This is one of our kales. It's called Scotch curled kale, and I am not a fan of kale, but I really like this one. This is one I can eat. It tastes more like a broccoli taste instead of a kale. So we just cut the big leaves off the bottom, and he keeps growing more. So we cut them again, and then we eat them, and just that simple. I've got some little carrots and just radishes that I don't think are going to develop. I think it's going to be too hot. Let's turn around to this arch. Along the arch, I have attempted to label them. This first one is a scarlet runner bean, a spaghetti squash. Then we have several Kentucky Wonder, which is like a green bean. I can those. Christmas pole lima bean are really pretty. They're a drying bean, but only one of them is doing any good. I think they got too wet. And then these are blue shelling peas. I like the blue shelling because you can see them. The green shelling peas are hidden, and often they'll get too big and you won't be able to eat them, or you'll have to dry them instead of eat them right then. Or I don't know, I've not really had luck with shelling peas. We've had better luck with snow peas. Then we're along the back fence right now. I've got all my corn down here, doing really good for corn. Stepping over some stuff because I've not put it back up. I always put sunflowers on the corner of the cornfield just to give it a little color when they do bloom. So then we're to the second arch, and we've got mammoth snow peas and another kind of snow pea. They're not growing very fast, and it's going to get warm, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're going to do this year. I don't know. I've had my lemon thyme laying out here. My mom gave me this because I can't seem to keep thyme alive. Say I'm bad with thyme. I don't know. Hopefully he's going to stay doing good. I think he needed some sun. We've got some loofah gourds. They're little bitty still. Those are cucumbers. Those are Boston pickling cucumbers. They're just hardening off. That was a melon, and he seems to be sad. So let's make sure we water him, and maybe he'll bounce back. Here's a Henderson lima bean, butternut squash, and then the other scarlet runner died, so I'm going to put something else there. Got this second fire ring, and this chard, we have cut this twice, and it keeps coming back. Swiss chard, I never had it until last year we gardened, and it tastes similar to spinach, but it grows during the summer, which spinach will bolt during the summer. It doesn't like the heat. So that's actually came back from last year. It was a perennial, apparently. The oregano, I've already cut it down, and it's massive. I don't know if you can tell how big that is. It's huge. I just bought a lavender plant because I can't seem to get that to grow from seed either. And a pineapple sage, which is going to be really pretty. See those flowers on that? It's gorgeous. Good for hummingbirds. I got some carrots. So while we're talking about hummingbirds, I'm going to show you my feeder over here. I hung one from this arch, and then usually I hang one from the other arch. And we just noticed right before this video that we had a few hummingbirds coming to this little lantern. Well, this is filled with water, so I was actually letting it air out. But they were coming to this, and then they'd fly away when they figured out it wasn't a feeder. So I think I'm going to remove these. I don't want the hummingbirds confused and to think that we don't have food for them. And I actually just bought another feeder at the store. So the blue, I have these blue ones. I'm going to leave those. Maybe they'll be okay. But I had these little solar lanterns. I'm going to take the red ones down. Kind of like the red, white, and blue theme. I'll just have to go without it if it's going to discourage hummingbirds, because we like them. We don't want to put our hummingbird feeders too close together either, while I'm thinking of it, because if you put your hummingbirds too close together, they will cause hummingbirds to get territorial and fight and even kill each other. I think it's the males that are most territorial. So we put one on each arch and then one on our back fence. I'd like to put some more up front too, but just kind of actually never had them so popular before until last year, and we finally started seeing them. We had wasps, and then we figured out how to do it. Here is our broccoli, mostly purple broccoli. Mostly that's what survived. Can't wait to see what that looks like. Our cabbages decided to start making a head. Some are bigger than others, but I figured once he grows, we'll pull him, and then he'll be able to grow. And some broccoli. None of them's coming up. You see just a slight purple tinge to it, though. Peppers aren't too happy. I get too excited, and I put them out a little early. But we've got Violet Sparkle, Alesa, I think that's how you say it, Keystone Bells, Lilac Bells, New Mexican Hatch Peppers, more Keystone Bell Peppers, and a Marconi. None of my hot peppers came up. Oh my goodness! Look at that. Marconi frying pepper. Wow, he is doing good. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we have peppers. Well, maybe I didn't put them out too early. But to see how their leaves are just kind of yellow and sad. Well, we had our last 40-degree night for a little while. So I'm hoping, I don't know what did this, something dug around here. Hopefully we will get some good sun and heat for these guys. Didn't help that when we were spraying the fence here, it kind of splashed back on them and it dried on them. So then I had to rinse them and it probably didn't help them for the day. They're blooming. They're doing good. Come back here to our compost barrel, and a few people have been asking about it. We know how to make compost in it, but I don't know how it was made. My father-in-law actually made this, and when we moved out of state, he gave it to us. When we bought our house, finally, when we moved out of state, he gave it to us. We don't know what the barrel is made out of. We will ask him, but you can see he's made some holes in here for aeration. We've got the hatches. Matt just mowed the yard, so he just put all those grass clippings in, and it is stuffed full. I guess I'll go ahead but it is packed full. We put coffee grounds, eggshells, and any green, mostly green scraps. Orange peels, banana peels don't break down very good, so if we do those, we chop them up. Any big plants like this guy, he can go in after he's pulled and harvested. I'm kind of leaving him. I think he got knocked over. I just left him here for the bees, though, because the bees have been coming and eating they've been getting the nectar out of the flowers. And he will hold water for a few days, so I figured, well, I'll give him a couple more days. It's not going to hurt anything. This stand has been repaired a couple times. It wasn't very sturdy at first. Couldn't hold the weight of everything. But all this is done with pallet wood. Most of the stuff we do is pallet wood. Honestly, when we bought our house, we couldn't afford a lot of wood. And of course we wanted a garden, so we did in ground. Then we moved on. And all of these boxes across this whole garden are pallet wood. The only thing we've paid for is the fire rings, which are a little pricey. I think they were $35 at a farm store each. And of course the fence. We went ahead and bought the fence posts because that's something that's going to be in the ground and we don't want to redo often. So these pallet wood boxes, they're not always the best. This is their 4th year, and you can see sometimes, I just need to patch it up a little bit. I just stuck this in here, but if Matt were to come out, he would, replace these screws and just tighten that up again because it's just warped. But I mean, they've lasted us 4 years and they were free. So I'm not worried about it. I'm perfectly fine with them warping every once in a while. We left these tall instead of cutting it when he made the boxes because of things like this, because it can hold the supports up. We used to have chickens and we attached chicken wire to this to keep them out. Didn't realize they basically didn't care and they'd just fly over it. So after they destroyed our whole yard, we decided they were pretty independent, strong-willed chicken. Is there such thing as a strong-willed chicken? Anyhow, we had chickens that were going to do what they were going to do, and I had already let them free range too much, so they were basically mad if I ever put them in their cage, so we got rid of them. But yeah, all these boxes they might not be in the best condition. Next year, before we plant, we might make some better repairs. This one I can tell because it's bowing out right here. It needs a middle support, which we only did in the last few boxes we made. These were the very first 2 boxes we made, and they didn't get middle supports. So, all right, and then we've got my chives are still not coming up here, which my little fairy houses keep floating away. So I think it keeps getting washed away. This one's the only one that came up, and then these are maple trees. I said we didn't have a problem with weeds, but we have a problem with maple helicopters. I've got tomato cages everywhere because I'm moving my tomatoes. And we've got my greens here. I really need to get attention to them. Some things are bolting. Some things are needing just harvested. This cilantro already needs harvested again, and I've got some on the other side. The tango lettuce, we could have a good four salads out of all this. if I cut it back. And I think this is kale. I thought it was auric at first, or orich. I don't know how to say it, but this looks like orich. So it's getting shaded out. This is sorrel. Somebody asked me about it. It is beautiful, and it was really bitter at the beginning. So I actually pulled a bunch of this up, thought I got rid of it, and got rid of it and gave it to my mom because it had health benefits and she might use it for something else. It has a lot of health benefits if you just want to do a simple internet search on it. But once it warmed up, it actually now has a citrusy taste to it, and my husband can't get enough of it. But when he comes out here on lunch or whatever, and he'll just pinch it off there, it will get your fingers red. So it has that in it, but it's supposed to have like anti-inflammatory, all kinds of, I don't want to quote it without having it in front of me because then I'll say something wrong. But Google it. It has a lot of benefits, and it's still not my favorite, but it is a very interesting taste to add to a salad. I wouldn't eat it by itself. I would add it to a mixture of something. Here's our hot mess corner right next to our lettuce bed. We had a sandbox, like a hexagon shape that my husband had made, and I was trying to think about putting strawberries in it or something. So I brought the lid over here trying to figure that out. I did some potatoes. I have a video on that if you want to check that out. I just put them in here. They have not sprouted yet. When they sprout, I'll show you that I'll add a little bit more dirt to them and how I'll do that. But these were just some garden totes, and that one was broken, and the blue one we drilled a couple holes in so they can drain, and hopefully we'll get 3 potato plants out of each of them, so 6. Right. So our asparagus, we've got some plants that are 3, maybe 4 years old. I bought them as roots, but you can also buy asparagus and plant it from seed. And I had a packet that I tried both. Some of these, like this one, you can tell this is like maybe a year or 2 old because of how thin it is. My hands are really worn out because of all this work we've been doing, but how thin that is. So they say to let it go to fern, which is what we've done. And it's got little bitty seeds here that it'll produce. It'll drop those seeds. I don't care if it replants a little bit. I had them pretty close. I had 5 by 5 in this bed. But we're not harvesting these. They say if they're thinner than a pencil to let them fern, let them grow, and let that crown strengthen before you harvest it. This guy is very good. He is almost as thick as my finger at the bottom, but he's looking really good. But we'll let him get a little taller. This one is pretty thick. I need to weed in here, just some common weeds. Since this is a perennial bed and we don't do much to it, it does have the most weeds. I can't even add a lot of soil to it because if I were to do that, I would cover the crown and kill off the asparagus. But you can see here I did add, because we did have some asparagus die on this side, so we only have it on half of the bed. I added soil, and so kind of that no-till method, you've got the propellers that just fell from the tree overhead, but if those hadn't fallen, I wouldn't have as many weeds because we're adding soil to it and we're loose soil, whereas this hadn't been added. So the no-till method isn't just no-till, you don't do anything. You also add compost to the top of it, and that is the no-till method. So, and then these little guys, I'm just tossing them. I probably should pull them out, but if you disturb their roots and just toss them in the mulch, they aren't going to live. They're not very strong, even if they're this big. They come up right out of this compost pretty easy. Not as easy out of the asparagus as other beds, but you just disturb their roots and they're going to be done. Over here I had a bunch of volunteer sunflowers, so I made a wall of sunflowers since that asparagus isn't going to grow any. And I don't even know what kind of sunflowers there are. I think they're going to be teddy bear sunflowers. And then these guys might be the mammoths. So that's our update. That's what I have to share. I hope it didn't go too fast. I just try to get everything in. Try to let you know everything I'm doing. And my son is soaking me right now with the hose. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks.